Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you have been enjoying this series so far. We started the journey with the full, and the full kind of initiated the whole thing, and then the magician came in to teach us about who we are, what we have available, and if we feel like we're missing something, how we can have access to the unlimited source of it. From the magician, we moved into the high priestess, really helping us to embody that all that we are on the higher, higher, or like I almost want to say our spiritual self, but I feel like that might be limiting. But just getting to know ourselves in that higher view. I
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
know if that's the right way.
Yeah.
Nicolette, help me.
Like our full capacity, like really tapping
Yes.
into our spiritual faculties and bringing them into the body and the present and
Yeah.
this current reality. And definitely, if you haven't checked out the High Priestess episode, go check it out because she was like, "Hey, I'm here. Um, I demand a whole episode." So a lot came through from her
Yes.
and the Fool and the Magician also, if you haven't checked out those episodes. This has such been such a progression for us. We're really feeling into it, and I just feel like as we go through, we're going to continue to build momentum and get our kind of groove in how we're bringing these archetypes to life for people. So super excited to be talking about the Empress and the Emperor today.
Yes. The Empress and the Emperor. I feel like they wanted to be together so bad.
Yes,
But
I
some
wanted them together
rearranging.
too. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
do this. And it makes sense, right?
Yes.
Because they really are such a complement to each other. Um,
Absolutely.
and I'm so excited to dig into it because I feel like there's obviously so much vibrancy and energy and just presence with both of them,
Yes.
and really tapping into the feminine and the masculine energies that are available inside all of us,
Yeah.
um, and inside different dynamics and how we're kind of dancing through this in relationships or partnerships or different areas of our life. So I'm so excited to be bringing in some Empress and Emperor energy today.
Yes. So with the Empress and the Emperor, we're stepping into the energy of creation and order. And when because the magician helps me, like the magician reminds me of creation too, but it's
Yeah.
a different type of creation with the Empress where it's embodied creation.
Mhm.
The magician kind of says, these are the tools that you need to create. And
Yeah.
the Empress says, how about you become it?
Mhm.
Like you are what you're trying to create, source
Yes.
from there. So it's a different type of creation. And I love the fluidity of it, the colorfulness of that creation. And then the emperor comes in and says, let's get it done. It
Let's
brings in
create
the
some
order.
like stability and order.
Yes,
Really, like,
structure.
and also just very like safety.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
think too, like just to echo off what you said with the magician, um, it is a different energy, right? When we kind of tap into these different kinds of vibrancies, I think I feel like to me, the magician is like, here's all the tools and let's tap into them. And it's almost like it feels very magician-y, like what you would
Yes,
expect with a magician, right? Like,
exactly.
move this over here and see this happen over here, or
Yeah.
kind of like how it also feels very like mental in a
Yes.
way. Um,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yes.
Where the Empress really is very much like grounded
Yeah.
and anchored into the kind of creation process.
Exactly. The those two visualizations that came through to me, and we're actually going to walk you guys through that centering meditation. So make sure you have your two cards in front of you, the Empress and the Emperor in front of you, so you can connect with it. But the vision, so the first vision that I saw was the connection to, because the Empress was like, well, since we're doing embodiments, let's bring it into the body. Where do you feel me in your body? And the Empress, it's like the
Mm.
heart. And then the Emperor, of course, is the mind. And so as we're talking about these energies, I like even bring it. into that deeper embodiment piece where you're feeling how your heart and your mind work together. Are
And
they working together or are they separate? Who's leading and who's not?
you
Yeah.
feel it in your body.
Yes.
I also feel the Empress very sacral.
Yes. Yeah.
So, really tap in. Remember, we are your guides in this journey. We're never going to tell you how to see this, how to feel this, how to experience this. We're really inviting you to have your own experience with these archetypes and like fill into the full vibrancy of what they're bringing into your.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. The second visualization, I'll share that when the time comes because it goes when we're deepening into the wisdom of it, it will come up anyway. So until we do that, let's get centered. Let's get the energy started. So make sure your cards are in front of you and close your eyes. Begin to breathe into your body. And I want you to call all your energy back to this present moment. Call it all back to you. This present moment is a gift. The very, like the very action, the choice that you chose to gift yourself this moment to receive this wisdom, honor it by fully being here. Now with your actually go ahead and place one hand on your heart and the other either on your stomach or your womb or your sacral, whichever feels good. And begin to really breathe into your body. And as you breathe in, imagine you're pulling in light into yourself. And as you exhale, anything that may be in the way of you receiving this wisdom and light, exhale it out. Release it through your breath. Breathe in light into your body. Exhale, let go of anything that might be in your way today. Whew. Now, with your inhale, I want you to feel the nurturing embrace of the Empress. The lush, creative, abundant, fertile energy. Fluid. I am getting that too. Fluid energy. And now, with your exhale, feel that steady ground of the Emperor, the essence of structure, stability, protection, and sovereign. Breathe in that nurturing embrace of the Empress. And with your exhale, feel that grounded, structured, protective energy of the Emperor. And I invite you to see yourself standing in a beautiful flourishing garden. Lush, the trees are happy and green, the sunlight, fresh air, fruits dangling, like the most luscious garden you can ever imagine. The smells. I love roses, so mine is like a rose garden. And within that garden, I want you to envision this castle, this stronghold, right at the center of that garden. Or it might be a temple if that feels good to you. And just I want you to see, sense, or feel that synergy between the garden and the stronghold or temple. And how they both work together, support each other, exist beautifully together. Remember, both of these are within you. They exist within you. They are you. Breathe in the balance of beauty and order. And again, let's go ahead and breathe out anything that might be in your way of receiving this. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in the balance of beauty, creation, and order, structure. And exhale anything that might block you from this flow, from this balance. Great Empress, Mother of Abundance, guide us to create with joy, to nurture with love, and to receive as holy. Great Emperor, Guardian of Order, teach us to stand in our sovereignty, to build with wisdom, and to protect what is sacred. And together, may your energies unite within us, the garden and the temple, the beauty and the strength, the flow and the form. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Take a deep breath in here and out. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. That was
Of
my,
course.
that was the best one.
Of course. Okay, so we've activated the wisdom of these two archetypes. The Empress. Okay, so last year I was becoming the Empress.
Mm.
And at the end of the year, I knew that our work wasn't over. Like, I was just like, this needs to continue. Like, we are continuing this journey. And lo and behold, this year she showed up too. So that's also who I'm becoming this year,
Mhm.
but in a different flavor because my door is the tower. So it's a different flavor.
She's like, I'm not done with you yet,
Yes.
and some stuff needs to be knocked off.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, working with the energy of the Empress in different stages, and I've been working with these cards for more than a decade. So each stage, the way the Empress shows up, and even like how it shows up, whether it's a door or who you're becoming, also tells you the flavor too. And it's different. Sometimes her energy is more of that flow, inner flow, and sometimes it's like more of the outer. I remember one of the years that I received her was a complete makeover for me. Like it was a physical makeover, which
Mhm.
we were just talking a little bit about this before we
Sure.
got on here. So there's still that
Yes.
element in there because
Mm.
it is about embodiment. And
Yes.
as we shift inside, we have to, and as we embody that truth within us, it kind of can't help but want to be expressed on the outside as well.
I think sometimes it just flows out too.
Exactly.
Like, it's a natural kind of extension of what it is that you're embodying inside,
Yeah,
but also sometimes stepping into that physical can also shift things internally. So it is this kind of
exactly.
play with it, right? And if you're really wanting to anchor into that Empress energy, like, yeah, embodying it in the physical is a great way to kind of.
Yeah, she is such a great teacher when it comes to embodiment. I mean, look at the card. She's owning that garden. The way she's walking, with her hand and the lushness all around her. Like you can tell that that lushness is happening because of her. Like she's one with all of that. Yeah,
Yes. Mm.
the abundance, the beauty, all of that. Like she is the creatrix of all of that. It's coming from her, from within her, you
Mhm.
know. Um,
I think it's sometimes life is lifing.
Yes. Yes.
We're going through the motions. We have school pickup and drop off and play dates and appointments and
Yeah.
work and like all of the things that kind of put us in this pattern of life that can
Yes.
kind of take us away from the vibrancy of it at times because we just, we're moving through life, going through the motions, doing the things,
Yeah.
checking off the to-do list. And um, I've found that coming back to my presence and like, yeah, like what I decide to wear or
Yeah.
how I decide to show up can shift the monotony in it sometimes.
Totally.
And that feels very much like the Empress kind of stepping in to say, let's really embody what we're
Yeah.
becoming.
Isn't it funny? That's been part of the topic we've been chewing on, you and I.
Yeah, it has. And
It has.
how we're presenting
Yes. Yeah.
ourselves to the world, to the people around us, to ourselves.
Yes.
And sometimes how the like how we think we're presenting ourselves can be different from how other people are presenting.
Totally. The perception. Yes.
I don't know if that's as much about the Empress, but it is about embodiment, I guess,
Absolutely.
who we are. And she's so much about embodying the vibrancy. I feel like
Mhm.
that is at the heart of the Empress for me, is her vibrancy.
Yes.
And um like she's so, like you said, like nature is just like she's not only in it, she's a part of it.
Yes.
And I think that's probably the most aligned way to really connect with the Empress energy is putting
Absolutely.
yourself in nature so embodied. And we've talked about this before. I think it was with the hype. We probably have talked about it a
I
lot.
was about to say it has that aspect. When we look at the archetype of nature itself, we can begin to see all the other archetypes in there depending on where you go in nature.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, it came up with the high priestess too, because
Yeah.
we can see that in nature too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it even came up maybe with the fool and the magician.
And
It'll
magician, yes.
it took
It probably did.
But I think the difference in the Empress when I
Yeah.
connect it to nature is it's really the frequency of it.
Yes,
And like nature doesn't try to be beautiful.
exactly.
It just is, right? It doesn't try to be vibrant. It doesn't try. And I feel like the frequency of nature when it's at its full like blossom is kind of like the highest and best for the Empress.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. You know, an example would be yesterday I had an appointment and where my appointment was, and that they have it's like two tall buildings, and right at the center of them is they created this garden and this like like the water cascade and what do they call it? That water feature they usually put in gardens. And
Yeah.
there's a busy road right there, by the way. So,
Uh-huh.
this time instead of going straight in and doing my appointment, I actually got there early and I was like, I'm gonna go sit. So I went there and and it's just small, just a small, lush area. And like I can choose to focus on the busyness of the road right there, or I
Yeah.
can choose to focus on this. And so I sat in a way where I was facing this circular lushness. And immediately I was like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Like
Mm,
I was so taken into it, and it was so simple,
mm,
very small, and you would never, especially where it's placed, you can easily be distracted by everything, all the honking, all the
mhm,
traffic, like easily. But if we're able to focus or bring our attention to that, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there's beauty in the midst of the chaos. And that's
mm.
exactly what I took in. I was like, oh my gosh, beauty in the midst of chaos. Our
Ooh.
life is chaotic. Life will be life in, right? But we can find these beautiful moments, beautiful experiences that
Mm,
allows us to. that gives us the energy, the life force, the power, the vibrancy to continue to enjoy life.
Oh, I love that analogy. I think it's so beautiful too because it reminds us that sometimes it can just be a moment or a few moments or even a shift like buying yourself fresh flowers or roses.
Yes.
Or, like really nurturing a plant into like its full, like it doesn't, some of the things we talk about, I feel like could feel like, well, that's feels like such a shift, but really
Yeah.
it's just these little moments or shifts that we can make in our environment or taking the pause and saying, "Ooh,"
Yes.
or how you position yourself in that space to be able to receive it instead of like being distracted by the noise.
Yeah. You know, one of the ways that I feel the Empress the most, or the way I feel like like I'm walking as the Empress, is when I'm in my garden. From the
Mhm.
time I put the seed in the ground, watching it grow as I nurture it, the whole process of nurturing, how much water it needs, is it getting nutrients, is it in a good spot for sunlight, and then watching it have fruit and all the leaves, and you're like, oh my gosh, I grew this. And so
When
I,
I
yeah. So
I
I'm
love
walking, I'm
it,
like,
and it's such
oh,
physical, like, you get to
yes,
see, and
gardening
it's
is a
like yeah,
physical. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like it started as a seed, and now look at it now, and I think that is also such a beautiful analogy because there's places in our lives where we're planting seeds that it's we don't have that physical, and
Yeah.
so sometimes it's harder to see what is growing, but that's still Empress energy to me.
Is still Empress. One of the activities that my spiritual teacher used to give us, especially after big initiations, she would tell us to go plant something
Mm.
somewhere or
Oh,
get a tiny plant and nurture it. And as we're watching that grow, whatever it is, that activation we just seeded is also growing. And so it gave us a physical thing to connect to because we can see we can see what is growing within us.
mm,
Others most likely can, but it's
mhm.
usually the hardest for us, like you said, to see what is the light that is growing. So when you have this plant or flower right in front of you that grows and then blossoms, then you know how that journey has been. And then also she would do like, if it dies, then you know what is going on, you know what to work on next. It was such a beautiful alchemy to use nature to connect deeply into ourselves and make shifts. It was
Have that
seriously,
physical representation of
yeah.
what's like, that's amazing. So that's a good takeaway for anyone listening. If you're wanting to really connect to that Empress energy, plant something and see.
Yeah. And
It's
also expression, go ahead.
intentionally planting it with the intention of like,
Yes.
show me, connect this, show this part of me, show this, you know, um,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, like she would give us the seed and we would spend all day holding it and meditating with it and
Mm,
putting the intentions in there before we actually plant it. So when it grew, it was representing us. Like there was no lie about it. Like
mhm.
we did that. It's powerful magic. We just gave you a little hint about magic, nature magic that
Magic.
you can do. Nature is our greatest teacher. It
Mm,
really is. And the
yeah.
Empress really shows us how much we are connected to nature, how much we are a part of nature, and how much nature is a part of us.
Yeah, and I think it's the Empress comes directly after the High Priestess.
Yes.
And so for anyone who's like, well, what's kind of the difference in in the Empress and the High Priestess? It's really valuable to look at it as the High Priestess is a bridge of
Mm.
connecting us from the spiritual to the physical and
Yeah.
really embodying that our intuition and our spiritual connection. It's kind of fierce in that way, I feel like.
Yes.
But the Empress is really bringing it even further into this earth realm and the vibrancy here. And I think that's why it's so rooted in nature, because that is the ultimate creation of what. everything what is it, you know.
The manifestation of the unseen. I love what you said that we can even say the high priestess is the spiritual aspect of the divine feminine,
Yeah.
straight up. And
Yes.
then the empress is when that spiritual energy drops down and is embodied in us, in the physical reality.
Creation and
Yes.
and
And
and and I think that's at the heart of the Empress is creation.
yes, absolutely.
It is, you know, she is the embodied feminine, so it's like, of course, you know, conception and birth, and, think of what our bodies go through when we conceive, and grow another human. Um, it's really a miracle, and
Miraculous. Yeah.
that is what the Empress is doing in different areas of our life.
Yes. Think of it as, this is what was coming in when we receive, receive any, whether it's energy or intuitive hit or, anything that's I wanted to say, we're just going to say the unseen. So the intuitive hit, the inspiration, and it drops down. Creation is how we express that, which is it wants to be expressed.
Yeah.
The divine energy wants to be expressed.
It's like the high priestess is the seed.
Yes, yes. And she's like, I am no tiny seed. Like that's what she is.
She's a powerful seed, but then the Empress brings it into fruition.
Yes.
Yes, I am not a seed. She's like
I am
so
not a
like
tiny seed.
that's
And
funny.
you see, the more you work with these guys, you can actually hear and feel the archetypes communicate with you. Because again, remember, these archetypes are who? You. They're
Yeah.
you. So you're hearing that part of you talk to you. So mine was like, I'm no tiny seed. What does yours say? I love it. I love it. I was thinking just bringing in the emperor real quick, just a little bit. Like if we're thinking of the seed with all the inspiration, all the light, all the possibility, the earth within
Mm,
which we place the seed is like the emperor.
yeah.
It's the
It's
structure.
the structure. And even when you look at the card, it's like the Emperor is sitting in his
Yes.
throne, but there's, you know, the mountains behind him. It's like,
Yes.
and I think of this a lot in like a riverbed. Like the Emperor is the river bed, the earth that
That
holds
the river flows
water.
on top.
And then
Yeah,
the water is like the Empress, like flowing towards.
absolutely.
And I think that is such a beautiful kind of imagery for the divine feminine and the divine masculine.
Yeah. I was giggling because this is what, because, okay, Nicolette is a Pisces.
Yeah.
Pisces is a water sign.
Yeah.
And I'm a Virgo. Mine is an earth sign. So I went to Earth and she went to, I thought that was the coolest thing. Like you talked about the riverbed and the river, which represents you, and then
Yeah.
I went to
It
the
does
Earth.
represent me,
Yes,
especially the Virgo rising and moon and then the sun.
absolutely.
You've
It
said
was
that to me so
beautiful.
many times. You're like, you're like the earth in the waters in between. So I
Yes.
guess maybe that's kind of a
It was just beautiful how it showed up. Like it
Mhm.
just, yeah, that balance, like, oh, that can be its own series we make.
It's true. There's a lot to it. But I think it's funny because when you did the guided
Yeah,
visualization, which something to kind of mention here is every time you do this, you may have a different kind of vision, which is so
totally.
and it's really bringing in things that are super present for you or new energies or there's just so much. And so you were leading us through that visualization, which the breathing in like the gold
Yeah.
and then out, like I remember you leading that visualization before, and it is so impactful and something everyone here can do anytime. It's like you don't even have to, like if you're having a moment or you're just feeling, breathe in that gold energy and then out all the things that need to be released.
Yeah.
It's a powerful process. But when you were leading us through it, um, it's interesting because you were like setting the vision of the garden, and then there was the structure,
Yes.
and you were saying how they like how do they intertwine or how are they connected?
How did they work
How
together?
do
How
they
did they
work
show up
together?
together? Yeah.
And the vision that I was receiving was it's so interesting because I was seeing the garden was definitely me, like I was fully
Yes.
vibrant in it, like standing in it, I felt very connected to it. And the
Yeah.
structure was like it was like next to it, but it was like prevalent. And so to me it was kind of saying sometimes we're more connected to one or more of these energies. And of course, being a woman and creative, person, that makes sense that the Empress feels.
Yeah.
Structure of the Emperor, it was almost like who are your allies? That's how it felt to me.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So who
I
knows?
love that you're saying this because actually what we're teaching you, you can use this wisdom to balance your inner the feminine and masculine energies.
Yeah.
You know, that visualization, what did you see? So for me, like I described, what came to me, but what I was experiencing, actually, I saw a woman and a man. So instead of
Mm.
a structure, it was,
Oh,
when I first, it was a lush garden and she was sitting at the center and she just taking it, which is what I do in nature, to be honest. So I was like, oh, me. And then
yeah.
the masculine, I was like, oh, is there going to be a castle or a temple? I love temples. So, I was
Yeah.
like expecting it. And the masculine side of me, who I'm very familiar with, and I'll come back to that, showed up and sat right next to her. And they just
Mm.
simply
That's
existed
beautiful.
together.
And
Yeah.
the masculine and the feminine do and can exist inside all of us
Yes.
at the same time. Um the structure for me
Yeah.
was the Wingate, so it's not surprising. That was
Wait,
interesting.
what is a Wingate?
The Wingate, the
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
necklace.
Oh, you have to say
But
what
I
it is.
know,
I
I
know
know.
what it is. Every time you say it,
No
I'm
one
like,
else is gonna know, but okay. So I'm sure I'll be talking more about this. But
yes.
I recently have been connected with this property in the San Juan Mountains in Colorado, which is a place I have a lot of like lineage connection to.
Yes.
And I have this connection here with this property and this space. And I'm collaborating with the owner to bring more life into this space. So it's really prevalent. It's like very prevalent for me. I'm actually going
Yes.
tomorrow. So it's no surprise that it showed up, but it was so interesting seeing that the
The
structure
structure came in.
was the emperor. And then it's like, what do you want to create here? Like bringing in the
Oh,
empress energy.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nicolette,
And
what do you want
so
to create?
So it's like sometimes these energies can show up as people or part of ourselves, and
Yes.
sometimes it can show up as a symbol or a part that is like so really just letting what it is that's like relevant for you
Yeah.
and being open to how these things are coming through because for me right now I'm very much in my empress like feminine energy,
Yes.
and I think that's why it kind of felt like the emperor was the ally. It was like, here's the structure, you bring in the creative flow and
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the emperor so that because I feel like we spend
Yeah.
time just on the empress. Let's spend some time with the empress and then I mean emperor and then we'll keep
Yeah.
weaving them together because they
Yeah.
walk together so
Emperor
beautifully.
needs his moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, remember the energy for the emperor. We talked about that grounding, the structure, authority, order,
Mhm.
right? Boundaries. Oh my gosh, if you need boundaries, you know who to connect with. And also the protection aspect of it.
Yeah.
Protector of vision and foundation builder. That's,
Yeah.
this is the essence of the emperor. And I wanted us to talk about that because if you're talking about the empress, here's the thing. And I want you to take this within yourself first and then expand it outwards and see how that shows up outward. The only way for the empress to truly be in full blossom is for her to have the protection of the emperor. And when I say that, I'm not talking about having a man who's protecting you. No, no, no. Remember, we're going to start from within you and then outward. So a while ago, my husband got me a gift, and it's like this carving, wood carving, but it has the goddess in the center, and then behind her is an eagle with its wings wide open, and they're kind of leaning on each other. And when I saw that, I was like, that's the relationship between the masculine and the feminine. Again, within, within. Don't go out first, within first.
Yeah.
In order for the feminine to blossom and thrive, she needs to feel safe.
Yeah.
And the
That's at
masculine is able to bring that.
I feel like that's at the heart of the emperor is
Yeah.
really bringing that protective strength,
Yeah.
safety.
Safety.
Yeah.
And he does have strength in his own
Yeah,
way.
and
Yeah.
very like it's how do I want to say it? It's I feel like the emperor is just commanding with his presence. Like he doesn't have to
Yes.
be like he's not like super like he's not the guy that's like trying to be out there trying to make intimidate. He's just like strength embodied.
Absolutely. Like I want to bring you back to the visualization. Who represented or what represented your masculine or your
Mm.
empress? I mean, your
Yeah, you
emperor. Oh my God, empress. Sit a little bit. We'll be back.
we know you like your day in the sun, lady.
Yeah. Empress is like, I'm here too.
Don't forget about me. I'm
Yeah.
bringing all the
How can we
vibrancy.
forget? But go
Yeah.
back to that vision. How did the empress show up for you? If
Mhm.
it, for example, if it was the temple, how did it show up? Was it like tattered? Was it old? Was it like the door was broken? Like you look at it and you're like, I don't really, it needs work, right? Or, right? I mean, it is telling you something. Again, there's no right or wrong. There's no
Yeah.
bad or good here. It's just giving you the nature so that you know where to send that creative energy. You already tapped into that creative energy. You just know where to send that so they can boost both of you up,
Yeah.
both sides of you up. That's where we're
It's
going.
like we said,
Yeah.
it's kind of a snapshot of a moment in time, and
Yes.
it shifts and changes depending on like where you are in your own energy and dynamics and the things that
Yeah.
are going on internally and externally for you. Um,
Yeah.
and like for me, seeing, this beautiful Victorian property, the wind
Yes.
as the emperor, it felt so solid, but that hasn't ever been a vision that's come in for me before. So,
Yeah.
it's like there is let this be what it needs to be for you right now.
Exactly.
I also want to kind of talk about this idea of the feminine and masculine because I
Yeah.
think um
Oh, wait, before you go there, let me
oh,
talk, give
okay,
another
sorry.
example for the emperor.
Okay, okay.
And then we'll move to the weaving those two
Okay.
together. So the way my life began with the emperor in full, like the emperor was at the forefront and
Yeah.
like almost like protecting the empress or my feminine side. So my masculine side was up front and leading the way, and that's how I survived in my most of my life.
What
And
how practically did that show up for you? What does it mean?
so I grew up very young. Like my parents traveled a lot. We lived with my wonderful uncle. So I grew up being the mother to my little ones. Nobody asked me to do it, but I took on that responsibility
And your
and it
little
helped
ones,
me.
your siblings. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, exactly. My sisters, yeah. And
Yes.
so I learned to organize. I learned to take care of myself. I learned to take care of them. I learned to organize the entire household,
Put the
come up with
infrastructure
ways.
around what needed.
Yeah, like I was that practical, like this is how we're gonna do it, implement it. Like, oh, and that lasted all the way to college. Like I kid you not. It wasn't until college I was like, oh my God. I'm exhausted. Like, why do I have to do everything, But it wasn't until I gave my feminines, it's like I had to, first of all, I have to come back to my body, which is the one of the keys for the Empress, right? It's about embodiment, it's our body. So once I dropped into my body, then that allowed the Empress energy to, or the feminine energy to really come through and be like, okay, I'm here. And now I had to figure out the balance because the masculine was like, I've had to lead and protect you for a while, but now it doesn't look like you need as much. So let's balance it out. But the feminine, my Empress had to feel safe to be able to come in front and work with the masculine. I love my masculine side. Like,
Yeah.
he's a badass.
We need both. We need both.
We
We
need
need
both.
the
We can't have one or
structure.
the other.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need the structure with the
Yes.
life force. Like, and I think it's interesting that and it's not a man and a woman thing or a
Exactly.
female and male. So um both men and women can connect to both of these energies and need to
Exactly.
and need to. It's part of the, balancing. That the we were just saying that the Empress, like this feminine and the masculine of the Emperor, isn't based on our gender or how
Yes.
we identify. That it's available. All of this energy is available for all of us, and it needs to be. And will show up differently. Like you were saying, the Emperor was so strong, and like here, I'm gonna create this infrastructure and guide you and protect you.
Yes.
And then once you got to this place, then it was like, huh, my Empress is feeling safe. She wants to
Yeah.
come. Yeah,
Yeah.
she wants to come out. She wants to come to the forefront, and your masculine could kind of, or the Emperor energy
Sit with
more
her.
could sit with her, yeah, and bring her and not, have to feel so protective.
Exactly. After a while, I think the energy, there's a synergy in the energy where I see it as a dance. They just kind of dance together in all the different directions.
And I
Um,
think it's interesting because there is this idea, like in relationships, of the feminine and masculine. There's a lot of conversation about it right now. But
yeah.
I kind of want to give a different spin to it because as a single woman, I think um, for single women, it can feel like we have to have that emperor energy at the forefront sometimes.
Mm,
Because there isn't, it's that protective kind of
yeah.
and so there is this feeling, but I want to give an alternative or an example of how this can look for people because um when my 20-year marriage ended about 4 years ago, um I could have definitely leaned into feeling like I needed to move more into the masculine and the protective, but I actually did the opposite. I really leaned into the empress.
Yeah.
And how I did that was like really nurturing myself, taking my self-care like so sacredly, um, and spending like intentional time in nature where I'm literally sitting to like really connect and absorb the vibrancy of it.
Yeah.
I would just I kind of had to throw out because this was in such a like I was rebirthing in a lot.
Rebirth and yeah.
Um and interestingly enough, in my marriage, I actually had more of the emperor because there was so much of the weight of what I was carrying. And I didn't want to continue that on. So it was pretty intentional. And it also looked like really leaning into my creativity and my creative
Yeah.
expression. Um, and and so doing that can feel vulnerable when you are single and I think just maybe it can always feel vulnerable. I
Yeah.
was single at the time and it just felt vulnerable to be it can always feel vulnerable.
Exactly.
But leaning into that, it it shifted things for me in this way where the emperor started showing up in different ways than necessarily in partnership, if that makes
Yes. Yes.
and so like um sometimes we feel like how I'm kind of having a hard time kind of putting into words, but I think sometimes it can feel so vulnerable to lean into that creative kind of um, birthing energy,
Yes.
the Empress. But when you do, it's almost like it will be balanced with the structure of the Emperor in different
Exactly.
in our
Yeah.
life. So regardless of where you're at or if you're in a relationship or not, or any of this, it can absolutely apply to you if you're wanting to, if you're for example, if you're feeling like, gosh, I don't feel grounded, I don't feel safe, I feel really connected to my creativity and this, then look at leaning more into your emperor and how can you start building in more structure and more safety, more of that protection
Yeah.
and then watch how the Empress energy will show up in different ways. It's kind of like this
Exactly.
play on working with these two different energies to
Yeah.
create the full kind of s- uh
Yeah.
like
The
circle of
full, yeah, the full adventure.
yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So I just think that's so important because I think sometimes we look for like if we're a woman, we're looking for the emperor in a partner. And I just want
Ah.
to say that's the emperor energy can show up in different places just like the empress energy can show up.
Absolutely. In partnership, and this is whether it's a husband, a boyfriend, or a friend, or a mentor. When you're close with someone, and my teacher always says the greatest work is done in partnership because then you begin to mirror each other. So
Yeah.
when you have someone that you trust, that you feel very comfortable with, depending on what they show up. So, for example, if they show up more in the Empress nature,
Mhm.
your emperor will come in to balance it. The
Mm.
moment they switch to the emperor, your empress will come in to balance because it's all about balance. So whatever shows up in like for example, if I show up more in my empress nature, my partner will show up more in the emperor nature, just to balance the whole. Yeah, to balance the whole connection or union in a way. It's all about balance. So who like if you have a friend who, like watch if they show up in that fluidity, that creative, like that divine feminine energy, watch what awakens within yourself. Now, that is not to say that, you know, there might be times where you get, especially this is in friendships, where well, actually you can apply in any relationship. It's all about what you need, right? So you might get someone who comes into your life and exhibit that strong empress energy, and you're like, oh, it's uncomfortable. Those ones are coming in to what activate your empress energy, so that they can be that too. They're still mirroring, but in this way they're actually activating that version of you because that version of you has been dormant. The same with the masculine. If that part of you has been dormant, all of a sudden you meet, if you're a woman, you meet another woman who's showing how the masculine can show up, and you're like, oh, the moment you see that action, that will awaken your own man. So there's this beauty, this beautiful dance when it
Yeah.
comes to this, like within us, and also how we show up in the world. If
And then how
you,
it mirrors it back to us.
yes, if you
Yeah.
show up within yourself as balance, like both your, like how mine, like they're both there. My
Mhm.
masculine and my feminine are sitting like this. There's no one in front of the other. So you meet both. And even in my art, you can look at the art and see the fluidity and the structure, right? You
Mhm.
can, this was like coming in. Even when you look at the flow of a river, you see the boulders in there. You see the river banks. There's still structure in the flow. There's always the masculine when where the feminine is, and there's always
Yeah.
feminine where the mask. It's a beautiful dance and never ending dance. So that's where I want you. That's the sweet spot. It's not about one taking the lead. It just, for example, if I'm doing planning stuff, like Nicolette knows this, as we do this together, where we structure and we plan things out. Like my masculine is gonna step out because that is it's. specialty. If I am dreaming, if I am bringing through the visions and like the feelings, my divine feminine will show up in full force and bring that in and bring the seeds in. Right.
Absolutely.
So again, it just goes
And
back and forth.
I think it's interesting to think about it also in a way of if you're feeling like you how do I want to say this? You can pull in that emperor energy if you're feeling a little flighty or you're feeling like
Yeah.
you're just kind of getting swept away with the creation process or uh
Yes.
then you might want to lean into that emperor. Where can I bring structure?
Yeah.
Where can I create safety and protection? And I think the emperor too, like I don't want to dismiss his ability to create
Mm-hmm.
because
It
he
does.
so he's needed. Like you if you've ever seen or worked with someone who's just completely in their feminine and they don't have any structure, it's a lot of things that are just moving that aren't really
It
getting
just flows. It
no
doesn't
and
anchor.
there's nothing there's no like practical tangible things that are kind
There's
of
a lot of that on social media right now. So go
yeah.
there. You'll find examples.
Yeah, but then also on the flip side of that, if you've seen, and we see this all throughout
Yes.
society too, which is very masculine driven, analytical, like production,
Go, go, go.
like
Do, do, do.
yes, and what results based,
Yes.
which can lead to like a lot of burnout and
Yes.
a feeling of less connection and a rigidity to
Feeling of emptiness because
of
the
empty.
feminine
Yeah.
creative
And
energy is
so
not in there.
and so
Yeah.
it's really about like, like if you're feeling that rigidity, you feel just heavy, like life is heavy, you're feeling like there's no kind of freedom or possibility, then that might be an invitation to spend time connecting with that Empress energy and seeing where you can start folding that in. And if you're feeling like really flighty, like nothing is really taking traction, tons of ideas, but nothing is really like actually getting implemented, then
Yeah.
where can you bring in that emperor energy of the, construction, like the very much more tangible construction, solid, um, and results
Yes.
based kind of where are we moving? A lot I think the emperor is a much more straight lined.
Yeah.
The empress is a lot more like,
It's
oh, we're
it's
gonna
the
go
rainbow, all the
here.
colors, all the dimensions,
Yes. But the emperor,
unlimited.
without the structure of the
Yeah.
emperor, it gets lost,
It
right?
has to land somewhere. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're just wandering everywhere. And you can actually experience this with a person who's just up there and you just like what okay, all that you said was awesome, all the different dimension and I've been activated in the 98th, whatever, but how does that help my life right now?
But what's the tangible?
Yeah.
And I think that's why you are so balanced, Abigail, because you're so intentional with it, you understand it. And that's one of the things that has always felt a lot different compared to some of like the spiritual mentors is you're very like bringing it into tangible, like
Yeah.
how is this living out in your reality, like what's actually happening. So that's one of the things, but I think yeah, you can be too you can and it's not even about like you can be looking very feminine but still be
Oh yeah. It's not about yeah.
emperor, or a vice versa. So don't get
Yeah.
confused. It's more of the energy of these different parts. But if boundaries, like you said, with the emperor, I think is so important because he's just like he means business. Like he's
Yes.
just like I'm not. It's not even really a boundaries. Almost, it's more of just like a knowing of like this is what I need and this is what I'll accept and nothing
Yes.
else is even gonna get through. Like don't
Yeah.
even. And so if you are feeling though like I kind of getting beat up by
Yeah,
this flow and being super open to receiving, but then yet you don't have the strength of the boundaries to kind of keep you safe, and keeping you in discernment, then that's an opportunity to like connect with that emperor energy, I think.
totally. So there's this influencer, and she does a lot of like spiritual work. She even has her own music thing that she does. And I love her because when you watch her and you hear her, she's like feminine, like just feminine embodied, you know. And then you watch videos where she is doing like martial arts and you're like, what just happened? But she
Wow.
shared a story one time. Like I love, and here's the thing, when you, whatever you have within yourself, you begin to attract people who are mirroring that to you. So I tend to attract people who have this balance, who are very feminine and show up, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm also masculine in this way. And again, we're not talking about boy, girl, you know, it's about
The
action
em-
and flow, creation and structure, that kind of synergy. But she shared a story, and I wanted to share this because it really shows the power of having both essences balanced within yourself. So she went to Mexico. She traveled by herself. She was going to a conference, and she got into a cab, and the cab guy decided to kidnap her. And so she's like, oh my gosh, I'm in this place. I don't know anybody. You know, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me? And all of a sudden, so she speaks light language too. Okay. So all of a sudden, she, you know, the cab driver is like talking shit at her and like trying, you know, like creating that fear, like, we're going to do this to you. We're going to, and she started to speak light language. And she said it just started flowing. And, you know, if you've heard light language before, you know that it can be like this fluid thing, but sometimes it's like a warrior, like
Mhm.
warrior code coming through. So she just started speaking it, and she said she started noticing the cab driver just gets so
Mhm.
confused that at some point he just stopped and he said, "Get out, get the f out," and she got out and just took off. But here's the thing, like, you know, like her stepping into her intuition, you know, like, oh, I'm going to listen to my intuition. The speaking of the light language, that taking that action to do something different, that was power.
Yeah.
That was power in that moment. She could have just been like, oh, you know, like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a woman. I can't, I'm lost. She's like, no,
She
when I
she's
speak
like,
light language, I'm a
what?
warrior.
And it kind of goes back to that magician. What are my tools
Yes.
available to
What
me?
are the tools available to
And
me?
how can I pull it in? Yes, but that
Now,
is
that is
great.
not to say when you're in trouble, start speaking light language. Remember, look at the tools you have available to you and choose
And
wisely.
everyone, yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
like for
Yeah.
her, it just it
That
made
she knew
sense.
that, and she
She knew
embodied
it.
that presence
And
of
she could
strength.
have ended up using like martial arts because she's very good in it. She
Yeah.
is dangerous when it comes to that.
I
But in
think
that moment,
something
that's the strength that
interesting
she chose.
to look at this kind of tangibly, like especially in business. The Empress is a lot of times out front.
Yes.
She's the one that people receive, the words, the ideas, the offers, invitations. And
Yeah.
behind the scenes, though, is where the emperor lives, which is
Yes.
the structure and the strategy and the spreadsheets and the
Yes.
projections of like where are we going financially. So
Yes.
like making sure that both of these pieces are like intact, and
Intact.
maybe you're a business owner, maybe you're not, but it can show up in different places, like in work, in our homes. Like there's so many areas where you can look at like where are
Yeah.
these two things playing out, and is it in
Totally.
balance? And balance doesn't always mean 50-50.
No.
Sometimes balance can mean 70% one way and the balance of the 30%. I think where
Yep.
it's really lopsided is if you're 70% and then 10,
Exactly. It has
right?
to add up to 100. So
Yes.
make sure it adds up to 100.
Yes. And this isn't play with it. Play with the energy.
Yeah.
Play with kind of how this is working and seeing where like, huh. I think that maybe I need to bring in some more emperor energy
Yeah.
because things aren't like taking hold. That there doesn't feel
Yeah.
like there's a good structure for this. And you think of like a building without a good structure,
Yeah.
it's going to crumble. And so really just think about this energy of like the structure, the strategy, the kind of boundary, the that part, and then the creativity, the nurturing, the vibrancy, and play with this. I was a long time in kind of more of the emperor masculine energy,
Yeah.
by default also, because I just think I felt like I just think that was where I had leaned into as a survival. um
Yeah.
and then when I started playing with the more empress feminine energy, I loved it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I connected with this part of myself that I had never even met before." And so I think all of us are going to have a different connection with these kind of,
Absolutely.
so play with it.
Yeah.
And just because you're how you are now doesn't mean that's how you always are going to have to be. Um,
Exactly. You're
and
not
so
stuck.
yes, like the one thing that's promised is change, and we can influence change.
Exactly.
Um, I
Exactly.
think some people are like, well, I'm just not feminine. And it's like, well, maybe you aren't right now, but do you want to try to be, or do you want to kind of play with that energy?
And
Um,
also, what does feminine mean? Because I feel like when what I
yeah.
noticed that when someone says, "Well, I'm not feminine," they're looking at social media feminine, with
Yes,
how
that
they dress up.
construct.
Yes, it's like this weird, um, i- this
Yeah.
weird picture of what the feminine should be versus masculine. A
Yeah.
distortion. There we go. So you need to ask yourself, how
Yeah.
does your feminine really feel? Because again, here my feminine, when she's in balance with the masculine, she has one archetype where she loves wearing suits. I love suits. Okay. Like the
Hmm.
whole thing of it.
Yeah.
Like there's a
I love,
whole thing on TikTok where women wearing like really good suits and a hat.
I
That
love.
brings me joy. That's part of my feminine.
Absolutely. It's like that presentation, that creativity. I think a
Yes.
lot of times like how we dress is like the empress, regardless of how it like is
Totally. How it
manifested.
shows up.
Because
Yes.
it's like it is like the creative, like okay, like the material and how it's gonna feel on
Yes.
us and what we're gonna so you're right, this isn't stereotypical. So we really want to
Exactly.
encourage you to bust past that stereotype. You're gonna know. You're gonna
You
connect
will.
to your own emperor masculine or empress feminine, and
Yes.
you're gonna find that set point because another thing that is empress, very empress, is motherhood and nurturing and caring.
Yes.
And so there's so many different ways to bring out these energies. So it's not all about like presentation or how things are showing up, or this like constructs that have been
Yes.
put on us. It's kind of like, how do I feel most connected to my feminine? How do I feel
Exactly.
most connected to my masculine? And then playing with the energy of it, and just knowing that we do get to influence it though.
Yeah.
If you're feeling really rigid, things feel heavy and like constructed, not a lot of possibilities, buy some flowers and just gaze at those flowers,
Yes.
like be so like curious about the aroma and experience all the
Smell
senses
it.
that come
Rub it
through.
all over yourself.
Yes. And then
Seriously.
and then go and create a
Yeah.
potpourri or like a bath with it. Like
Yes.
just like just play with it,
Yeah.
right?
Play
So
with it.
there's different ways to kind of like awaken these energies. If you're feeling
Absolutely.
like super flighty,
Sense.
if you're feeling super flighty, maybe it's time to like really look at your budget, for
Yeah.
instance. So it's like,
I
there's,
love that.
I really want to
Yes.
like help people understand like the more like tangible ways that these kinds of energies can show up and how we get to influence and kind of play with it.
Yeah. Hopefully, as you're listening to us, you recognize that none of these archetypes are stagnant. They don't belong in boxes. They're actually very fluid because they're dependent on who we are and we're very dynamic beings.
Mhm.
My feminine, the way it shows up is going to be completely from yours, and yours might not go with my, and that's
And
okay. That's who I am, and
and
that's
my
who you
feminine
are.
today is going to show up different than it might 2 years from now or
Or
5.
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, honestly. So it's like you said, it's not, it's very fluid. These are
Yeah.
moving through us and we're always dancing. And in different areas of our lives, they show up
Yes.
differently too.
Yep.
In a relationship, you might show up really in your Empress feminine energy, but then you go to work and it's all Emperor.
And it switches.
So it's
Yeah.
like there's different, and but at work you might feel really stagnant, and there might be an invitation to bring in more of the Empress. So it's like just know that these energies are available to you, and it's really about playing with them, balancing it, and how do you want to feel?
How do you want to feel?
How do
It's a
you want to
dance.
feel?
Yeah.
If and kind of playing and trying these on and then experimenting with it. And I think I always like when you were leading us through the meditation, I literally saw the Empress like step into me.
Oh, I love that. Yes. That's
And
what I want.
so I like to try this on, and I do this a lot with the queens because I just
Yes.
queens.
Nicolette
Um,
is very connected to the queens of
and
the
we're gonna have
the
a whole series
tarot.
about that.
Yeah.
But I also do this a lot with the Empress and the High Priestess. Also
Yes.
two very connected feminine energies, I guess. So that's maybe why it feels so. But I've done it with the Magician too. So there's you can do it with anything. Is literally walk, like show up somewhere and walk like you're the Empress. Like, how would you move? How would you interact with people? How would you, like, it's like almost like you're playing a part.
Yeah.
You're not like trying to like pretend or perceive, like, like you're not trying to fool someone or something. It's not like that, but it's like the presence of it
Yes.
is more of it because it's like, how would the Empress, like, I've done this a lot with the High Priestess, and like I
Yeah.
said with the Queens, it's like the Queen of Swords, like, what would she do right now? Like, who would she be? How would she sit? How would she walk across the room? What would she say? Like, and so I think it's a really fun exercise for people if
Yeah.
wanting to kind of tap into this energy is let the High Priestess like try her on, or the Empress, try her on and go into some kind of encounter and see how it feels.
Oof.
Put the
Get
Emperor
ready
on,
for that magnetism.
and then put the Emperor on and see
Yes.
how that maybe feels
What
into
shifts?
see and observe it and then come back and tell us, because seriously, I am so curious about obviously, we all have our own experience with this,
Exactly.
and it fascinates me to hear
Yes.
other people's experiences, and then it opens me up to awakens me to different possibilities,
Yes.
like when I hear you talking about something and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could try that, or
Yes.
I want to experience that, or I want to play with that. So come back and share with us. Or if you feel like like if you've always been like, I've always been so connected to my Empress, this is how, like, please share, or same with the Emperor, just
Yeah.
please share, because it's honestly so much fun. And one of our favorite things is to just obviously have conversations about this. And the
Yeah.
more conversations and the more people who are sharing, like the better it gets. So
Exactly. So Nicolette already gave you guys your first assignment. Play it with it. And the second assignment, I want you to actually grab your journal, and on the left side of your journal, I want you to write everything about your divine feminine, your Empress self. So I want you to go back to that visualization, the meditation, and see yourself as the Empress and write everything down. How does she feel like? What does she look like? What is she showing you? Like, who are you as the Empress? And
how
then
does
on the
she
right
show up
side,
in your, how is she showing up in your reality?
yes,
Like, here's an
exactly.
example. If you end up being in just beautiful places all the time,
Yes.
speaking to you. Um, so that's just one example. So yeah, play with
Yeah. I love that. And then on the right side, do the same thing for the emperor, yourself as the emperor, as the divine masculine. Describe that whole thing. And then just every time you open your journal, remember you're gonna have both of them. We're doing it that way so that they're both still facing you, which is showing you that they're you. They're not outside of you, they're both sides of you.
They're both sides of you, and then they're going to be reflected to you based on the things in life that are
Exactly.
happening. So really pay attention to that too. If you when you do the emperor, you might be like, gosh, you might really realize for the first time how safe you feel.
Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, we're serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you might realize how being in a certain place really anchors you to like your sturdy, grounded, kind of like that mountain
Yes.
energy. So, like, really be a curious explorer in this. Of course,
Yes.
we've been encouraging you to do that throughout the series, but I want to remind you again that this is fun, first
It
off.
can be fun. It can be.
It's always fun. Like, I mean, okay, back up. It's not always fun.
Until we get to a card where it's like,
Actually telling Abigail just a couple days ago, like sometimes I just want things to be like I don't want to have to like seek
yeah,
a meaning. I just want it to like be. So it's not always fun, but it is always rewarding.
it is.
Always.
Yes.
It is always rewarding. And like we've talked about before, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, but it is always rewarding. Meeting these different parts of ourselves and playing with the energy that is showing up with us and outside of us is a really curious exploration, and it
Yeah.
does create a lot of meaning in your life.
I wanted to end with this. So, as you're exploring these aspects of yourself, depending on how your life was like, how you grew up, if you notice that also triggers a wound that needs to be healed, make sure that you take care of yourself. Go see a therapist if you need to. Go see the chiropractor if you need to. Like whoever, whatever you need to also support your body, your mind, your heart. Please do that physically. Take care of yourself. It's just as important as the spiritual work that you do. So as like you're writing your Empress self and you're like, wait, it's taking me to when I was like 7 years old. That was how when I was in my full Empress mode. But then this is also what happened and I'm still and you start because it will take you down there. But it's doing that to help you heal. So make sure that if you need to talk to a professional, please do so. Take care of yourself. Okay.
And absolutely, and a not so shameless plug for Abigail, um, which is if you are really wakening up these archetypes inside of you, she is your go-to mentor to help you, to guide you, to hold space for you. So make sure that you're reaching out to her and invest in investigating the different ways to work with her, because that's us talking about this might be fun for you and you're getting super curious, but by actually like leaning in with intention and saying this is actually something that I really am ready to waken up, she's amazing. You won't be if you're really ready to waken up all of it, connect with Abigail. So
Thank
and
you.
that's so
And
shameless plug, and it's not
yeah.
shameless first. Yeah, I just have to.
And if you have a dream, if you have a vision, so you're in that feminine flow and you're like, but I have no idea how to make it happen, you need to talk to my girl. She is so good. So good. I'd be like, I see the big vision. Okay, now let's channel it down. Let's
Yeah.
do this. We're gonna do that. And then we get like she is great at creating systems and like just taking the intangible and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, it's here. She is the queen of it. Okay, there's a reason why she's very connected to the queen. She's so good at it. And I love that she can be in the expansive state with you and see it and experience it and then channel it down with you. And all of a sudden you've created it. You've birthed it into the fit.
You know, I love my blueprints.
Yes, you do. She's really good at it.
That's
So if
very
you,
her energy, right? And so I
yeah,
think it's interesting because, like, if someone saw me like on social media,
yes.
they would say, wow, she's very in her feminine, but like behind the scenes, there's like structure
And
and
then
a
you
lot of
talk to her and you're
movement.
like, oh my gosh, like, wow.
Thank you. And here's the third not so shameless plug is As you are waking up to these different archetypes within you, you are going to find a vast reservoir of stories and experiences that are
Yes.
ready to come through you. And both Abigail and I own publishing companies and support mostly women and a few very connected men
Yes.
to their stories to bring them into the world through books. So obviously, that's always an invitation too. This is something that is so interconnected with the work that we do because when we are awakening these bigger versions of us or these different parts of us, that
Yeah.
is like pure creative energy a lot of times, and we just are like unlayering masks and layers of things of depth. And when you start doing that, just like a little like warning, not so much, but
Yeah.
um you are going to have a there's a very good chance that you're going to have more expression that's ready to come through you.
Absolutely.
You go.
And hopefully you noticed this. You came in, you received the fluidity and the wisdom of what came through, and then we invited you to the structure. We literally just showed you the balance of the feminine and the masculine. I love it. I love what a beautiful
And
way
we
to end
couldn't have
it.
planned it better.
This is what happens when you're working and embodying and activating these archetypes within you because you begin to see it in the works, not just
and
thinking
and
it
it starts
or,
showing up in alignment in the
yes,
practical ways, which is absolutely what Abigail is so amazing at. And then bring birthing it is something that I'm really good at.
yes,
But the reality is this will waken up different parts of your life in these different areas, financially, relationship, purpose, work, familiar, friends,
all of it. Yeah,
all of it. And I think the biggest difference for me, if I'm like looking at it really like,
yeah.
before and after, is the meaning and the vibrancy of life just feels so much more palatable
Mm.
as I have connected to these different parts of me. I think for a long time I felt like I really wanted to feel purpose. And now
Yes,
I just there's purpose in everything.
everything. Yes.
I think
Oh,
that's for us to end.
so we're gonna end today's. What is next week's? Let's make sure
Yeah,
we get it
let's
right.
look because we don't want to be leaving anyone out. Let's
Exactly. So let's see here. Okay, so we did the Empress and the Emperor. We got, oh, we got the Hierophant and the Lovers.
That'll be a beautiful conversation. So much depth in both of those. Um,
Oh,
and ooh, that's a interesting two part.
right?
Yeah, there's
It's
a
gonna be good.
lot of depth in that. So
Yeah.
make sure to tune in. If you have enjoyed this conversation, we would love for you to like, subscribe, share, so that more people get to connect with their own inner arcana.
Yes.
And make sure to tune in next time as we dig into the Hierophant and the Lovers.
And if you have any questions, please send it our ways, so that we can go ahead and answer it during the live session. So, yes, from our hearts to yours. Until next time.
Thank you so much
Bye.
for joining us. See you next time.